You know that feeling when you watch someone pull off the impossible and you're torn between being impressed and absolutely terrified? Because that's exactly where we are with Max Verstappen right now. 4 races ago, he was 104 points behind in the championship. The title looked done. McLaren had the dominant car. Lando Norris was cruising. And Max? He was dragging a Red Bull that had no business being on podiums into fights it shouldn't win. But here's where it gets interesting. After Mexico, Max sits just 36 points behind Lando with 4 races and 2 sprints left. That's 116 points still available. And suddenly, what looked like a coronation is turning into the kind of knife-edge battle that makes you check the calendar every morning counting down to race weekend. The championship lead changed hands in Mexico. Oscar Piastri's cracking under pressure. And Max Verstappen is doing what he does best, making the impossible look inevitable. So the question everyone's asking is simple. Can anyone actually stop him? Because we've got the data, we've got the form, we've got the remaining tracks. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly how this championship fight could unfold, what needs to happen for each driver, and why we might be heading toward another Abu Dhabi final lap decider. This is the breakdown nobody's doing. The analytical deep dive into whether Max's comeback is actually possible or if we're all just getting caught up in the drama. Let's break it down. Max versus Lando, the toe-to-toe comparison. The 2025 form line. Here's the reality that should terrify McLaren. Since the summer break, Max Verstappen has averaged 23.8 points per race. Lando Norris, 11.4 points per race. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between a driver maximizing every opportunity and a driver losing ground, despite having the faster car. Max has won 3 of the last 4 races: Monza, Singapore, and Kota. Lando won Mexico, which was brilliant, but he's also had moments where the pressure showed. Sprint race collision with Piastri and Kota, qualifying errors that cost him pole when McLaren had the fastest car. These aren't catastrophic mistakes, but when you're trying to hold off Max Verstappen with a 36-point lead, you can't afford any. The form line is clear. Max is gaining. Lando is defending. And in Formula One, momentum matters more than people think. Because when you're chasing, every point feels like a win. When you're defending, every mistake feels like the beginning of the end. Driving styles, where each driver has the edge. Max Verstappen is a tire management specialist disguised as an aggressive overtaker. He can push a set of tires 5 laps longer than anyone expects and still have pace at the end. We saw it in Kota when Lando caught him but couldn't pass because Max still had grip when his tires should have been dead. That's not luck. That's racecraft built over a decade of making slower cars compete. Lando's strength is 1-lap pace. When he gets qualifying right, he's untouchable. Mexico proved that. Pole position and a 30-second win. But his race management under pressure still shows cracks. He struggles when he has to defend. His overtaking isn't as clinical as Max's. And when the race gets chaotic, safety cars, restarts, tire strategy calls, Max thrives in that chaos while Lando sometimes hesitates. Here's the difference. Max drives like someone who knows he's not supposed to win, but finds a way. Lando drives like someone who's supposed to win and sometimes overthinks it. That psychological gap is massive in a title fight. The psychological battle Max has been here before. He won a championship in Abu Dhabi on the final lap against Lewis Hamilton. He's been booed at races. He's had teammates crash him out. He's had car failures. And through all of it, he's never flinched. The pressure doesn't get to him because he's already survived the worst pressure F1 can throw at a driver. Lando's never fought for a championship. He's never had to manage a points lead with 4 races to go, and we're already seeing signs of the wait. The sprint incident with Piastri where he seemed rattled. The post-race interviews where he's defensive about Monza team orders. The qualifying mistakes when McLaren has the faster car. These aren't weaknesses exactly. They're just the reality of inexperience. Christian Horner called it perfectly. Max knows how to close. Lando's learning. And that gap between knowing and learning could be everything. Track by track, where this gets decided. Let's talk about the remaining races because this isn't abstract, it's about specific circuits. Brazil, Sprint plus GP. Historically, a Max Verstappen track. He's won here multiple times. Red Bull's low downforce setup works well at Interlagos. McLaren's been strong here too, but if it rains? Max in wet conditions is a different level. Advantage, Max. Las Vegas. This is fascinating. It's only the second running of this race. Last year, Max won it comfortably. The long straights favor Red Bull's power unit. The low temperatures help tire management, which plays into Max's strengths. Advantage, Max. Qatar, Sprint plus GP, high-speed corners, tire degradation, intense heat. This track punishes mistakes and rewards consistency. McLaren's been quick here, but Verstappen won the Sprint and GP last year. Slight advantage, Max. Abu Dhabi, season finale. If it comes down to this, the pressure will be nuclear. McLaren's been quick at Yas Marina in testing. Red Bull's historically strong here. But honestly, if it's the final race with the championship on the line, bet on the driver who's already won a title on the last lap. Advantage, Max. The reality is brutal for Lando. 3 of these 4 tracks favor Max historically. The only way Lando holds this lead is by outperforming the form line and the car balance. That's possible. McLaren is faster, but it requires perfection. And Max doesn't need perfection. He just needs to keep doing what he's been doing. Is this 2021 all over again? The parallels that give you chills. Let's be honest, the setup is there. A dominant Mercedes in 2021 versus a dominant McLaren in 2025. An experienced champion chasing versus a faster car defending. A title fight that could go to the final race of the season with everything on the line. Even the vibe feels similar. Every race matters, every point is precious, and one mistake could decide the championship. Max in 2021 was the challenger trying to dethrone Lewis Hamilton. Max in 2025 is the challenger trying to catch Lando Norris. The energy is the same, the outsider with nothing to lose fighting against the favorite who has everything to lose. And here's the thing that keeps you up at night if you're a McLaren fan. Max won that 2021 fight. He took it to the last lap of the last race and crossed the line first. If this goes to Abu Dhabi with the championship on the line, that experience gap becomes massive. The differences that change everything. But this isn't 2021 for one critical reason. Lando Norris is not Lewis Hamilton. Lewis in 2021 was a 7-time world champion who'd been in title fights for over a decade. He knew how to manage pressure. He knew how to close out a championship. His only mistake that entire season was getting caught by Max in Abu Dhabi on fresher tires after a controversial safety car. Lando's already shown more cracks than Lewis did, and there's still 4 races to go. The second difference, McLaren's dominance in 2025 is nowhere near Mercedes' dominance in 2021. Mercedes won the majority of races that year. McLaren's won 4 races this season. Lando has 3, Oscar has 1. Red Bull's been competitive since the upgrade package in Monza. This isn't a David versus Goliath story anymore. It's 2 evenly matched teams with one driver in better form. And the third difference, there's no teammate rivalry within Red Bull. Sergio Perez isn't challenging Max for wins, but McLaren has Oscar Piastri sitting 1 point behind Lando in the championship. If team orders get messy in Brazil or Qatar, that internal battle could hand Max the title without him even needing to beat Lando directly. The mathematical likelihood. Let's do the math. Max is 36 points behind. There are 116 points available across 4 races and 2 sprints. Scenario 1. Max wins every remaining race. Lando finishes second every time. Max gains 7 points per race. Jaguar 28 points gained. Max wins championship by 20 points, assuming sprint wins 2. Scenario 2. Lando wins Brazil and Qatar. Max wins Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Everything else splits. Championship comes down to fastest laps, sprint results, and who finishes ahead in Abu Dhabi. Basically, It goes to the final lap scenario 3. Lando finishes top 2 in every remaining race. Max needs to win at least 3 of 4 races and both sprints to have a chance. Lando holds the championship by 10 to 15 points. The likelihood if current form holds. Max averaging 23.8 points per race, Lando averaging 11.4. Max wins the championship with a race to spare, but if McLaren gets their act together and Lando finds consistency, he can hold him off. It's genuinely 50-50 right now, and that's terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The spoiler rolls. Who else decides this? The FIA. Controversy waiting to happen. Let's not pretend Mexico didn't show us what's coming. Inconsistent stewarding. Lap 1 chaos with no penalties. Lewis Hamilton getting 10 seconds while others cut corners with no consequences. If Max and Lando are wheel-to-wheel in Brazil or Abu Dhabi and there's contact, the FIA's decision could decide the championship. And after Mexico, does anyone trust them to get it right? The FIA is the invisible third driver in this title fight. One bad call, one missed penalty, one controversial safety car, and the whole thing flips. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. Ferrari. The unpredictable wildcard Charles Leclerc can still win races. We saw it in Cota, where he pushed Max and took points off Lando. If Ferrari finds pace in Brazil or Qatar, Leclerc could take 25 points off the table that neither Max nor Lando get. That swings everything. But Ferrari's also fighting McLaren for the Constructors' Championship. If they prioritize that over helping or hurting the driver's title fight, their strategy calls could accidentally decide who wins. Carlos Sainz's spin in Mexico under VSC helped Leclerc hold P2 over Max. What if something similar happens in Abu Dhabi but affects Lando instead? Ferrari doesn't mean to be a spoiler, but chaos follows them everywhere. And in a tight title fight, chaos is a weapon. George Russell, Mercedes' dark horse. Dark. Don't sleep on George Russell. Mercedes has been finding pace in the last few races. If George gets on the podium in Brazil or takes fastest lap points away from Max or Lando, those 1-2 points could be the difference in Abu Dhabi. Russell's already shown he can steal wins when the top teams stumble. If McLaren and Red Bull take points off each other while George quietly collects P3 finishes and fastest laps, he becomes the most important driver not in the title fight. So here's where we are. Max Verstappen is 36 points behind with 4 races to go. The form says he's catching. The tracks favor him. The pressure's on Lando. And every single race from here to Abu Dhabi matters more than anything else this season. Can Max actually do it? Yes, mathematically, psychologically, and based on current form, he absolutely can. But Lando has the faster car and the points lead. If he finds consistency and McLaren doesn't implode with team orders, he can hold him off. This is the title fight Formula One needed. Not a dominant car running away with it, not a boring procession, but a genuine edge of your seat. Every point matters battle between two drivers at the peak of their game. We might be watching 2021 all over again, or we might be watching something completely new. Either way, we're not missing a single lap, because this, right here, right now, this is why we watch.